Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Glad, happy, and excited to be back. I hope we are all glad, happy to be back here. Welcome so much. Welcome back. For those people who are new to this place, you're so much welcome at Looking at Life with Ratez. And if you're new to this place, kindly consider subscribing. And for those who have been around, thank you for coming back. It's yet another good time that we are gathered here for some talk, for some good talk for that matter. It's a time that we are here to come and just have a little communication. And as I told you, I'll always be coming back again and again and again so that we can talk. We're here to look at life together, look at life issues, enlighten each other, teach each other, because that's what our channel is all about. And one, I'm so excited for the support you people have been giving me. To this extent, I can say that if it was not for your support, for your encouragement, it would not be to this point. Thank you so much. Still on our journey to 100k subscribers. So if you're there and you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe. And to our today's topic, today's a nice day, and I'm excited. I'm always excited when I know we have a good talk, a friend's talk, a talk that is a bit exciting and all that. Because there are times I know we come here and we talk about issues that are a bit harsh, that are a bit. Today is a nice day because our topic is so good. Today is the time that we're just here to talk about love, relationship, dating, and marriage. I remember sometime last year, there's a time I'd promised that I'll come to do a certain topic about dating, and maybe the issues we should maybe sit and discuss while dating, things that you need to know about your partner before you settle into marriage, things that you need to start discussing if at all you are newly wedded. That's a topic that I promised I will come do, and I forgot. And luckily enough, there's one person who have been maybe keen about this channel, and she came and told me that, you know what, there's something that you promised us last year and you didn't fulfill the promise. And I was like, oh, I might have forgotten. You know, the year started when everything was on the high note. You want to have resolutions, you want to put everything on ongoing to ensure that the year is on point. So I think I got to forgot, but luckily enough she reminded me, and that's why I came here to talk about this issue. And I'm always so excited when I'm talking about love, so excited, but all the same at times it gets me emotional at times, because love relationship is something that is good. One, it's because it was created by God, and it's God's intention for us to be in love, for us not to be lonely, for us to have companions, for us to be in marriage. All these are things that were created by God, and it was God's intention. It's not something that we sat down and started doing out of our own concept, out of our own mind. No, it came from God. That's the beautiful thing about love and marriage. And that's something that at times keeps me going. Even if at times you get to hear negative things concerning love and marriage, the thing that keeps me going is it was created by God, and God is the initiator of all these. That's why I always love this issue of love and marriage. And what brought up this issue of dating, it came from how at times nowadays marriages are failing, and we're getting to hear of breakups, even marriages that are so young. And it got me worrying, and I had to think of a thing or another. What could be the cause of maybe marriages getting to break when they are so young, and at times marriage is not working and such like. And one thing that was coming in mind is at times we don't date right. Not date right in that aspect. At times we don't do the necessary things while dating. There are issues that we needed to have discussed while dating, but maybe we didn't, and now we're in marriage. And now maybe we're in marriage. And at times we miss out on very key issues on dating, and this gets to affect our marriages because there are so many things that we are not discussing. There are so many things that we are not laying as a foundation in our dating life, and we get into marriage, and it gets to like mess us. It gets to like give us a shake off, because Now these are the things that we are discussing in marriage. These are the things that we are bringing up in marriage. A marriage where now things have started kicking off, a marriage where now things should be working, and now that's when we are discussing some of these issues. And in one or another, I got to like gather some information. I was like, what? This is one of the key things that is making people at times to fail in marriages and all that. We are getting into marriage before we get to understand some of these key issues. At times we might have known each other, because that is the thing that most people focus in. Oh, I know you, I know you, you know me, and it's a done deal. It's not just a matter of knowing each other. There's more into details that we need to know before we get into marriage. And now this is what I want us to discuss. What are these things that we need to know before getting married? Or maybe before we start our journey of marriage. Maybe before we start our journey of marriage, what are these things that we need to have sat down, discussed, and gotten into keynotes of the same? In this season of now, we have proposed to each other and we are so certain that we'll marry each other. These are things that it's not for those people who have just met. No, these are things that a couple should discuss. A couple that have now decided to marry each other. A couple that is now in a point of they are planning of wedding. They are planning maybe having a family together. These are not things that maybe it's a boy girl relationship, people who are so young and such like. These are things that at times, yes, you might discuss, but you may not know the great know-how because you're not certain that you're getting married to this person. But when you get to this point that you're dating or you are relating with someone and you're at a point that I'm really convinced within my mind I'm gonna settle with this person. These are not some of the things that you need to be discussing. These are some of the things you need to write down and you get to note. Because at times it's very important. Even before you get into marriage, have some notes. My partner said this, then this, and this. My partner promised me this, and this. And I promised him and I promised her such, and such things. And maybe to start with, what are some of these key things that we need to have discussed or we need to be talking about before we get married? Now that we are planning to get married, to get married maybe come next year. Maybe we're planning our wedding maybe by the end of the year. What are some of these things that we should have sat down and agreed about? To start with, because this is the thing that at times that carries at times that carries a lot of weight. It's about finances and money, finances. And no, if you get to ask most of couples, the kind of area that they struggle most is about their finances and money. Reason being, some never got to discuss of how they want it to be done. Some have never sat down and gotten to ask themselves, how best can we handle this issue of money and finances? Maybe as a partner, you need to tell your other partner, I need to go and tell maybe my husband to be. I tell him, this is my finances. There are some things that at times are key to sit down and discuss. This maybe if at all you feel it's fine with you, you can discuss about your income, discuss about your investments, discuss about your savings, discuss about maybe your assets, discuss even about your debts. Maybe you have a loan somewhere. Get to discuss about these things. Let your partner know. Let your other have know some of these things. Let them know so that at times they don't expect so much from you. You need to sit down and agree some of these things so that maybe as a wife, if I get to know the kind of man that I'm getting married to, I get to know maybe his source of income, his finances, the assets he have. I get to know maybe even he has some loans here and there. I may do not expect too much, but at times we hide some of these things and they get to trouble us way after. Now that's something to do with money and finances. Also discuss about maybe even about your investments that maybe you have started and investments that you're planning to start. It might you might not have started, but maybe you are saving up to start an investment, and maybe in your source of income, there's a certain percentage of money that will be going to that investment. It may not have begun, or maybe it may have begun. It's good to let your partner know some of these things. Get to even talk about your long-term goals in finances and in investment and all that. Let your partner get to know that in 5 years to come, I want to have achieved this, and this. In 10 years to come, I have to be I want to have achieved this, and this. And by all these, even as you sit down to budget things and all that, this person will have this thing in their mind that as much as we're budgeting, as much as we're having plans about finances and all these, there's some money that goes to a certain investment, there's some money that goes to such, like they have these things in mind. It's good to discuss these things as early as possible. Because at times, when you bring them up, when it's too late, at times it brings a lot of issues and chaos. So if it's possible, discuss these things into details. Let not It's not a 1 day meeting or a 2 day meeting. Get to discuss them into details. Let your partner know all your plans, all the desires that you have, how you're gonna want to invest in life, maybe the kind of assets you always aspire to have, maybe such things. It's something that is very important, it's something that is very key. And also in this issue of finances and all that, get order to discuss things with retirement plans and all that. There are some people who want to retire early. Let your partner get to know that as you work hard, or maybe as you even get to venture in maybe career and all that, your own person want to retire very early. And maybe you want to retire at 40s. You want to retire maybe at early 50s. And there are things that you want to have achieved before retiring and all that. So that these things will help in how you manage your finances in marriage. Because you also need to discuss about budgeting. You want to like have a know-how. Do you work with budgets? You want to discuss about spending. How will we be spending our money? Will we be having this and this in our family setup? Get to discuss about savings. Will we be saving together as a family, as a husband and wife? Will we be saving together, or we just continue with our individual savings and all that? There are a lot that need to be discussed when it comes to money and finances. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. If you're in business, do you want, maybe you as a husband, do you wish your wife to come and join you in business, or maybe you want your wife to just be in her career and all that? Is there some assistance you want? If your wife, you are in business, is there any assistance you would wish your husband to give you? Or you're okay, he can venture in his own things and you're in your own things? There are a lot of things that we need to discuss when it comes to finances and money. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. It's a very dynamic issue that needs to be addressed, a lot of soberness. So we should always discuss this issue before we get to settle together and make a family. And maybe something else that we can say we need to sit down and think about is maybe family values and expectations. And what do I mean when I say about family values? You need to sit down and like give your ideal family, the kind of family that you would wish. What are kind of things that you would wish in a family? What are you looking forward to in a family? The values you would wish that your family to practice, things to do with religion and all that. Are you a church goer? Would you wish your family to be going to church? Would you wish maybe if your husband goes to a certain church, you go to a different church? Would you look forward to be attending one church, or someone can just remain in their respective churches? Your children, how do you want them to grow up? The kind of religion practices that you're comfortable with as a family. Things to do with baptism, things to do with all that. What kind of family in aspects of religion and all that do you want to have? Things to do with politics and all that. How can politics maybe influence you as a family? How indulged are you in politics? And how can this maybe influence the kind of family that you want to have? And maybe things to do also with family dynamics and all that. This will relates to things to do with in-laws. What's your relation with in-laws? How would you want to live with in-laws? Are you the kind of person who maybe you never want in-laws to come and visit you? Are you okay to live maybe in the same homestead with in-laws? Such things. There are some of the things that at times will get you off guard when you into marriage, and you'll be like, this is not what I expected. Maybe as a husband, get to tell your wife, this is how our family is. This is how they expect you to behave. This is how the in-laws will always be expected you to do. Things to do with family tradition. At times, maybe it's during holiday, there are things that we usually do as a family. As a lady, if I'm getting married to your family, I need to know how you hold your celebration when it comes to holidays and all that. I need to know maybe about family gatherings and all that. There are a lot that you need to know, especially as a lady, if you're getting married to a certain home and all that. Get really to know, ask questions about their family. Ask how at times they like respond. These are things that at times when you're in them, you will be like, why had I not asked this earlier? Why didn't I ask this? And why don't I know about this? Get to know how they hold their gatherings, how you like when you go there, what is expected of you, maybe as a lady. You've been married in that family. What is that family expecting you to do and such like? Those are all things to do with family dynamics and all that. It's good to always know. And also as a lady, I need to inform maybe the person who is coming to our place. This is what is expected when you come to our home. Behave like this. This is how maybe parents are treated. This is how maybe elders are treated and all that. Some things they may bring chaos of which you didn't know. So it's okay. Tell your husband, tell your wife to be. Tell them how they need to relate to your people. So that at times the in-law things, at times it gets so chaotic. It may reduce it may reduce a lot of dramas and a lot of issues that at times are usually very much unnecessary. Something else is about children and parenting. You need to sit down with your partner. You need to ask yourselves several questions. What's your take about your partner having children? If they are okay having children, how many children would they maybe want to have? And maybe when do they want to start having children? There's some people who want to get married and maybe have like say 5 years, like maybe 3 years, like 2 years, and there are those maybe who want to get married and start having children immediately. You have to ask each other these questions. After how long do you want to have children? Now maybe children are there. How do you want your children to be brought up? There are those people who are like, my children cannot be brought up by maybe house helps. My wife is the one who will bring up my children. These are things that you need to discuss as early as possible, because there are some women who are not ready to leave their career to maybe be in the house to raise children. And there are some women who are so okay. They are like, me, I'll bring up my children and maybe I'll get to pick up my career later after children are well up and all that. You need to discuss maybe about education. How do you want to focus on your children education? Which kind of schools would you wish maybe your children to study in? And also, there are things maybe to do with even parenting roles and all that. As a husband, what is your role in parenting? What is your role in child care? As a wife, what is your role? Even in responsibility to comes with maybe how you'll be sharing the household activities and all that. At times when it comes to children and all that, there's a role that is needed. As a wife, what is your role? What assistance will you be giving? As a husband, what will you be doing when it comes to children and all that? At times, these are things that are very okay when discussed very early, and they'll help you, because at times, if you've committed yourself to doing something, even when that time comes, you'll always be having this thing in mind. I had promised to do this. I had promised to do this. Have these things detailed. Have these things talked. These are issues that need to be addressed, and addressed soberly, because they sound simple, but they carry a lot of weight when it comes to marriage, when it comes to settling up in family. And maybe what else? It's things to do with communication and maybe conflict resolution. How you communicate. You know, you know yourself better. And it's good when you let your partner get to know you better also. You know how you communicate at times when you're happy, when you're angry, how you address your issues, how maybe you express the needs the needs that you have, and also maybe when you're angry, how do you want to be addressed? When you have issues, how at times will you be sitting down to like solve these issues that you have? There's a lot that also need to be discussed when it comes to communication and all that. You know, things to do with personal time. As much as you're getting married, as much as you're getting to have a family, as a person, you still need your personal time. How do you want your personal time? How do you want maybe your personal time to be handled, like maybe the time and all that? Maybe there are those times that you want to spend doing your hobbies and your personal things. And it's good when you let your partner knows that when I start doing up this, when I'm doing this, I don't want to be disturbed. This is my time. Maybe on weekends, I always want to have some time doing this, and this. Maybe on weekends, you need some free time to be doing certain things. Address these issues. you know, so that when you get married, your husband will be like, at least this woman had told me on weekends you usually do this, and this. At least my husband had told me that maybe he'll have games. And maybe when I don't know a certain team and team are praying, don't expect him to be at home. These are things that you should address them. The personal hobbies that you feel, as much as now I'm a married person, I cannot live and I cannot do without, let your partner know, so that they will be able to respect it as early as possible. Let these people know some of these things. It will be for your benefit and also for their benefit. It will avoid a lot of quarrels that may come up later. So that thing to do with personal time. Everyone needs personal time. And it's always good to respect that. Let them know how they want when it comes to personal time and their personal self. And when maybe at times there are people who at times when they get angry, they want to be given personal space to maybe cool down and maybe get to get back to their normal sense and all that. So talk these things out. Something else is about personal history and background. And these are things that now relates to yourself personally. Maybe we need to sit down and discuss. Maybe before you even got to meet that person, those people had past relationship. Do they have unresolved issues? Are there things that are still pending? Are there things that are still pending from their past relationship? Do they have baggages that they are still carrying? Because at times, have these people healed from their past relationship? Are they okay in that there's nothing that they are carrying from their past relationship? These are some of the things that you need to like start by knowing so that they may not affect maybe the kind of life that you're planning to have next. And maybe things to do with even personal background in relation to family and all that. What's the relation of your partner with their parents? Were they brought up by their parents, or maybe they were brought up by the grandparents and all that? Was this person brought up by the mom or the dad? It's such like there's a history that in one or another you need to know about your partner, and it will help you to even know on how to handle this person. Do this person have siblings? How do they relate to their siblings? These are kind of personal things that concerns your partner that are very key at all you know them. And they'll help you at times even not to judge this person. You see him or her behave in a certain way, and you will not judge them because you know maybe where it could be coming from. So it's good to sit down and ask some of these questions. And also get to know about their personal values, about maybe the things that they value personally. You know, there are some people who are like, I myself, there are things that I would never wish to see maybe a partner or someone that I love do and such like. What are their beliefs? What are their values when it comes to them personally? What are some of the things that I can stand and say, for this and this is a no for me? For this, there are people who are like, there are some things for me is a yes, for me is a no. You have to know some of these things that are so straightforward with these people. And it will help you to know on how to handle your partner and all that. And what something else that you need to know about is things to do with love language. Love language in this kind of how do these people express their love? And how do they want maybe to receive love? Do they love gifts? Do they love surprises? You get to sit down and discuss some of these issues, and you're like, what are the kind of things that maybe when they are angry they want to be told and they want to feel loved? Maybe if it's gifts, what kind of gifts does this person want or love? You know, what are the kind of names that this person would wish to be called? And when maybe they feel they are called in a certain way, they will feel loved and all that. You know, anything concerning love, you need to sit down and discuss. Because as much as we are discussing every other serious thing, love is something that should not be left out. Because as much as you are loved when maybe you're dating, you also want to feel loved when it comes to marriage and all that. So sit down and discuss aspects of love. Get to tell that person how you want to be loved. If at all you feel there's something that he or she is missing out, tell them. Tell them if at all you want us to be together, this and this, I would wish you to do this, I would wish you to improve on this, I would wish you to do this to me, and when you do this to me, I'll feel I'm loved, I'll feel I'm cared for, and I wish maybe you'll be calling me, maybe you'll be testing me, maybe you'll be doing this and this to me. Everyone have their own love language. Let it be known by your partner. Because if he or she does not know, who will know? And this is your person. This is your lover. So sit down and discuss about love issues. Love issues are so broad in relation maybe to which extent you are at in your love, and maybe at which level you are at in your love, and maybe your values when it comes to love and all that. So it's you who know the things that you free and comfortable to discuss when it comes to love and all that, and maybe what else. And also there's this issue about property and inheritance that at times I feel it's also very important to discuss as early as maybe you are getting into marriage and all that. You know, when you're getting married, me personally as a wife, there are things that I have. You personally, there as a husband, there are things that you have. When we get married together, there are things that we'll start having together. You need to sit down and discuss that. What are the things that maybe are to be inherited by who and who? You need to have like, these are my property, yes, these are your property, these are our property. You need to have a good dynamics of everything. Because at times, we are seeing of people who get divorced and all that, and we hear in a lot of issues when it comes to property and all that. It's good when you discuss these things as early as possible, even before you get into marriage. Even before maybe you get maybe into those later ages in marriage, as young as you are in marriage, get to be discussing some of these things. The property that you have. You know, personally, I have my property, and maybe I want my property, maybe I don't know to be inherited by who or who, or maybe I feel I can give I can give my property maybe to my sibling. I can give my property maybe to my parents. I can give my property maybe even to anyone. Because in one or another, I feel this is my property. And at time, this issue is coming up when I personally have my property and I feel I have my own mandate. These are very key issues that at times they seem there are things that should not be discussed, but in one way or another, there are things that should always be discussed. Because there's a way that the property that I have maybe gained before we get married, I want it to be handled. And maybe I don't want it to be handled as family property because this is my personal property. Maybe my husband also. There are things that maybe he feels is personal property. This is property that maybe he has gained before getting married and all that. And maybe there's a way that that property he wants it to be handled. Maybe it's property that maybe even he can give to a sibling. He can give him maybe even to a relative and all that. These are things that are very okay when discussed. Because I might be having a property or an asset. I give it out to a sibling, or maybe I give it out to my parent or a relative and all that. And it will bring issue in the family. Just because my husband or maybe my partner here feels like this is something that should have been discussed between so and so, between us or and all that. And according to me, I feel this is my personal property. When you were getting married, you got me with it. And it usually happens, by the way. You see your husband has given out maybe a car to a sibling, maybe you are your partner has given out, I don't know, a certain house that was somewhere to so and maybe you there complaining and all that, and maybe they feel that is their personal property. They had it before you came, so they are like, this is my personal property. It should not be termed as a family property. So things to do with property, inheritance, and all that. It's good to sit down and discuss these things. Things are so many that we should sit and discuss. Those are just but a pick point of a few. Things are so many, very key things and very key issues. And my point here is it's not just going to restaurants, taking coffee, visiting all sorts of restaurants, knowing places, traveling, hiking, and all that is needed during dating. We also need to have serious meetings, places that we go in with notebooks if possible, places that we go in with serious issues and agendas. We go sit down, discuss these things, and we are serious about them. We are not just saying it jokingly, things that we sit down. You see like you go to a meeting and you have agendas and you like want to know what we have achieved in that meeting. The same thing should apply when you're dating, especially when you're dating looking up to start a family. And it's when we learn to start having these serious issues and serious maybe handling of ways when we're dating, it will proceed even to marriage, because this also should be happening in marriage. These things we need to be sitting down and evaluate them. When we were dating, we had agreed this and this. Now it's 2 years in marriage. What have we achieved? Have we maybe been doing what we had agreed? It's now 5 years in marriage. It's now 10 years in marriage. You'll be having those times because you like trained yourself to have those times when dating. When even it comes to marriage, you'll be having the same. And I think by that, when we have that time of sitting down and talking as partners, as married couples, I don't think marriages will be failing in the kind of manner it's failing right now. Let's communicate, let's sit down, let's discuss. This is a union, and there's no way that you can have an union and you don't talk and you don't sit down to have meetings, agendas, and all that. So it's not just the happy times. in marriages, there also comes things that we need to lay things down, and we forget about the lovey-doveys and all that, and we are like, we're not into serious matters, because life has so many aspects, and we have to balance about all these aspects and all that. And I think that's enough for today. And until next time, bye bye. Love you guys. Bye.